Edin Dzeko, and Ashley Barnes from Burnley. A man who's made 8 appearances for Burnley. Just SMH. SMH. What is Conte thinking? I get it. Big, tall striker. That's what he wants. I mean, you sold Diego Costa, 6'2". I mean, he was a cancer to the team, so I don't blame him for selling him. But why would you go for these players? These are not Chelsea-level players. By the way, I am a Chelsea fan, so I am saying we when I'm addressing Chelsea. There's just so many problems. I mean, I get the interest in Dzeko if we offered to buy him last year, because he scored 29 goals in 33 Serie A games last year. He looked like one of the best strikers in Europe last year. But this year, again, he's 31 years old. He's only going to regress. And he's only scored 9 goals this season. I mean, in 19 appearances, which isn't bad, but it's not going to be the injection of goals and scoring as soon as he comes in through the doors. It's not going to be like, oh, Edin Dzeko's here. Now we can finally score again. Even though we did score 4 against, I believe it was Brighton last week. So we know how to score. It's just we really need that, main number 9. Because Morata has been struggling. I did like when we brought Morata in. I thought he would be a success, even though a lot of people said, oh, he's going to fail. But he looked really good in the beginning. I still have faith in Morata. He's so young. He's so talented. I mean, you don't play for Real Madrid unless you're incredibly talented. And he's so young. I mean, he played at Real Madrid when he's 22. He played at Juventus. He's played at big clubs. He's played in big games. He's got experience. I get it. He played terrible against Arsenal. Everybody just remembers him for the Arsenal game. But he's so much more than that. So I think just give him time. And if we are going to bring in a big, tall striker like Conte wants, instead of Ashley Barnes, maybe bring in someone like Karim Benzema, 6'2". You can buy him for 50, 60 million. You could buy Zaza from La Liga, Valencia. He's 6'1" and is top 5 in La Liga goals this season. And he's only 26. 26. That makes sense, in my opinion. Even though he failed at West Ham, I mean, he's just been on a whole new level at Valencia. So I could see him 20, 30 million would be a great signing. Or even Cavani. Cavani would make a ton of sense. He's 6 feet tall. He's a world-class striker. He would improve Chelsea immediately. And he, according to some, newspapers, said he wants to leave PSG. That he's no longer, the superstar, big number 9. I mean, it could be totally fake. I doubt Cavani's that selfish and cares that much about being number 1. Even though there was the whole penalty dispute between him and Neymar. I think it's just rumors there, but I mean, Cavani would be a great signing. And it makes sense. So I'm going to end the whole Premier League section there, but I'm going to give a shout out to Bayern Munich for signing a man that's easily worth over 50 million, German international Leon Goretzka, for free. Unbelievable signing. Only 22 years old. Incredibly pacey, 6'2" midfielder. Looks like the future of Germany, the future of Bayern Munich easily. That could be the signing of all time. If he, turns out and reaches his potential, it would easily be, I think, the best midfielder signing of all time. I wouldn't be surprised. Considering in this market to get someone for free, it's not like 1990s where people are going for 1-2 million. This is an era where top midfielders, Coutinho, are going for 140 million, and they're getting Goretzka for free. And because of that, Goretzka has been totally, taking so much crap from the Schalke supporters. They totally isolated him. So for the next 6 months, it's going to be absolute hell for Goretzka. They just hate him right now. So I feel bad for him. That might take a mental toll on him. That might not make him reach his potential. Because, I mean, that's just such a lot to deal with, having so many people hate you at such a young age. Just because, you want to improve your soccer. You want to play for a better club. I mean, a soccer player's goal is, again, maybe to stick with the same team for your whole career, but to also play for the best teams. And Bayern Munich is the best team in Germany. So you can't blame them whatsoever. And another shout out to Juventus, just in general, because Juventus and Bayern Munich, they're the model clubs when it comes to being a big team, but realizing that you don't have to spend 100 million, 75 million to be a great team, to challenge for Europe. A lot of their signings are under 40 million. Like Juventus signed Dybala, I believe 2-3 windows ago for 30 million. And now he's worth over, according to some, 200 million. He looks like a top 5 most expensive player in the world, which I I could see him going for 200 million. He's a great player. He's incredibly talented. He looks like the next Messi. I don't think he'll reach Messi levels, but he's insane technically, and he's very, pacey. He's got a lot of gifts. And also Juventus, signed Kingsley Coman for free, who's worth over 30 million on the transfer market website. And just to end it off, Bayern Munich again signed Hummels and Kimmich for 38.5 million combined. So clearly, you can be a big team and actually look for affordable deals. So Premier League teams, take a note to what Bayern and Juve are doing. They know how to spend the big money and actually be reasonable. Bayern Munich signed their best player, Robert Lewandowski, for free. I mean, wow, Bayern Munich is just amazing. Seriously, shout out to them. But it is time for a break, I am a little bit thirsty, throat's a little bit dry. I can't be thirsty with all these girls around me, man. I just can't. I can't be slipping up. So I'm just going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Okay, shout out to Dasani water, by the way. Easily keep you more hydrated than any other waters. Don't at me. Don't come at me with that Aquafina, Evian, all that crap. Dude, Dasani water, it's purified water. It's enhanced with minerals for a pure, fresh taste. I'm not getting paid for this, so I'm not going to advertise them anymore. Seriously, I wish I was, but they always keep me hydrated around all these thoughts. You got to be watching out in 2018 because, you can be walking down the street, a thought's going to come out of nowhere and just rob you. Rob you of your heart. Come on. Money. Let's be honest. But I want to get into a little bit of story before we talk about the NBA. You can skip by it. I could care less. But I've noticed as I've gotten older on social media, I'm big into social media, of course, so is nearly every single teenager. But girls lately have been posting a lot more pics without their eyes facing the camera or their face facing the camera. And a lot of times, for some reason, their backs are facing the camera, and they're showing what their mama gave them. And I'm like, ooh. I mean, I'm not saying I'm against this recent trend. In fact, I'm for it. But it's an interesting development. I've quickly done my research, and I don't know what explains this trend, because in 6th grade, all these girls would be posting at their speech and debate tournaments and their Sunday school meetings. And I just love looking at those pics. I mean, a lot more than bikini pics. Come on. You can't see a girl's personality when you see a bikini. It's all about, when they're at church. Then oh, they're into church. If they're in just a bikini, you're just like, oh, well, they like bikinis. Come on. All your posts should be meaningful and tell about your background. That's what I think. And I again, not against this movement. In fact, girls, if you're listening to this, keep on posting those back pics. Guys don't have a problem with that. If you want more followers, just keep it up. But on to the NBA. But the biggest surprise this season with the NBA, in my opinion, has been the Pacers, because they've been predicted by ESPN and a lot of other websites to really underperform this year. And you can't blame them, because they traded away their best player, their franchise player, Paul George. And ESPN only predicted the Pacers to win 32 games this year. And currently the Pacers have won 24, and it's only halfway done with the season. So what's happened? I mean, why are they good this year? I mean, Paul George last year put up 24 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 3.3 assists. I mean, who's going to replace that? Is there anyone out there? Is there a superhero, possibly in Oklahoma City, that's going to come and turn around our franchise and be our franchise superstar? Victor Oladipo has been out of his mind lately. Obviously, him and Sabonis, whatever the hell, have been traded for Paul George. It was easily the most criticized trade in the NBA during this offseason. In fact, a lot of people said it would cost Indiana Pacers GM Pritchard his job. But Oladipo has scored more points than George last year and had more assists. He has 24.2 points, 5.2 rebounds, which is just one less, and 3.9 assists. So basically 4 assists. So obviously, there is some different circumstances there. George is obviously more talented, but Oladipo has more than filled his role and all expectations people could have had of him. I mean, he's looking like a number 2 pick. I mean, a lot of people thought he would be a bust because, he was playing basically on the bench for the Thunder. He wasn't getting a ton of minutes. He wasn't the main ball handler. He didn't look amazing. But in my opinion, he's now the front runner for the most improved player because he's just been so good. Him and maybe Gerald Green, because, he went for the whole free agent to start, being such a huge impact for the Rockets. He's averaging 16 points a game. I mean, Gerald Green's also been incredibly amazing this season. Like, who knew he would just blow up? So, good for Oladipo and the Pacers. They're looking great. But speaking of the best team in the East right now, the Celtics. I mean, Kyrie is looking like the best guard in the East right now, and he's currently entering his prime. I mean, how do you stop Kyrie Irving? His handles, his skills on offense are just unbelievable, and in my eyes are unmatched by any guard not named Steph Curry. I mean, Uncle Drew just knows how to teach these young bloods, man. I mean, he's led Boston to the best defense in the NBA, giving up the least amount of points at 97.6 points per game. Only the Spurs are close to that because they've given up 97.9. So obviously they're very close. I mean, the numbers by the time I post this could switch. Maybe the Spurs will be number 1, Boston number 2. Who knows? But right now, Boston is also top 5 in opponent field goal percentage. So their defense has been the key to them winning all these games. It's been the key for the Celtics being number 1 in the East right now. They currently, I believe, have 34 wins. But they've gone through some struggles. I mean, lately they've lost, their last 3 games. And, Kyrie Irving said, this adversity is going to be good for them. And obviously they're not the biggest team struggling right now, let's be honest. The Celtics will be fine. And, just to make them feel better, the Kings are on a 7-game losing streak right now after having probably the biggest off-season rebuild of all time, bringing in Zach Randolph, George Hill, Vince Carter, De'Aaron Fox, Harry Giles, Justin Jackson, and Naismith Award winner Frank Mason. I mean, how many people can you add in one season? Obviously, they're going to struggle. I mean, you're just rebuilding a whole team. I mean, you're expecting team chemistry to be amazing. And the Kings are, again, one of the worst teams in the NBA this season. I mean, 7-game losing streak right now. But they do have a very good core of young, talented players. If they get Marvin Bagley in this draft, I mean, they could seriously be a good team, or at least look like a future prospect of being a playoff contending team. It wouldn't be surprising. But let's get into the real meat of the NBA, the real story, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Believeland, as it was once called. What has happened to them? The Raptors started off the whole trend scoring 133 points on them. The Magic scored 127 on them. The Warriors scored 118, which isn't that bad considering they're averaging 115 points a game. But the Timberwolves dropped 127. The Thunder front 4, Steven Adams, Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, scored 113 points on them. 4 dudes scored 113 on a team that has made the NBA Finals the past 3 seasons. What is going on in Cleveland? I mean, Terrence Ferguson made an amazing dunk to end that game, if you saw it. I mean, and there was a minute remaining, too. The Thunder could have had more than 150 points if they really tried. And Terrence Ferguson, by the way, I mean, that dunk was absolutely insane. He totally fits the description lately of, like, dunk contest participants being people you've never heard of but can just fly. Seriously, like, who was in the dunk contest last year? I honestly can't name anybody. Even the winner I couldn't even name. But then last year was sort of a terrible year for the NBA. I mean, the Warriors won as expected with the super team, Kevin Durant. Rookie of the Year was Malcolm Brogdon. I mean, no one's ever heard of him, even though he's won the Rookie of the Year. It was really a bad year when you think about it. But, I mean, this year obviously had an amazing start with the whole free agency. Easily the biggest and best free agency of all time in the NBA. So many new faces in so many new places. It's just awesome. But for the Cavs, they also made some changes. They made that huge trade. They got a new GM. Kobe Altman is now the GM. Rookie season for him. And he's having to deal with the same situations that David Griffin, the former GM of the Cavs, had to deal with. That is that, the Cavs tend to struggle mid-season. I mean, last year they were struggling mid-season, and they still made the